Well, friends, you caught me in the middle of the night just going to bed, but apparently Star Trek breaking news waits for no man, no woman, no species, so we're coming over here to trekmovie.com for a follow-up on the breaking story that Scott Bakula is maybe possibly at some point returning to Star Trek if Paramount decides to actually pick up the plan that Mike Sussman has, ? And this is by Anthony Pascal. Exclusive. Scott Bakula-led Star Trek United pitch explores Archer's family, Romulan War aftermath. And I don't know why I thought it was going to go on, because I saw the end of the giant letters right there. Enterprise writer-producer Mike Sussman gives us more details on the proposed series. So if we come down here past all these other amazing Star Trek stories and actually get to the article, I did it wrong. I click read more. I know directions very well. Almost 2 months ago, we broke the news that Star Trek Enterprise star Scott Bakula and Enterprise writer-producer Mike Sussman had developed a pitch. I'll link that story, that video I did here, but let's just get into the nuts and bolts of the new information here. A president's working family. From the start, Sussman had made it clear Star Trek United would be a different kind of show for the franchise, likening it to the Star Wars series Endor or The West Wing, which isn't a Star Wars story as far as I know. Like the other shows about a fictional president, United would center on Archer as president of the UFOP. Sussman even built out the main characters to reflect where Bakula himself is in his life today, : I was basically asleep. Sorry about this. All right, so this is really the new information, what the story is supposed to be if this story in the show in this series is actually picked up. Archer would be in a place in his life where Scott kind of is right now, where Scott is a family man. He's got 4 adult kids. There are 4 kids? And so I gave Archer 4 adult kids, and the story is as much about them as it is about him, because he, Archer, lived this life of diplomacy. His family sort of grew up with this sense of service, so he'd have these adult kids, one of whom is part of the diplomatic corps, another is in Starfleet, somebody else is in Federation intelligence, so his adult kids could be brought into the story in a way that felt very organic. That was 3 kids, so is the 4th one just a delinquent who doesn't get along with the family and wants to carve their own path of... He's going to run a museum. Sure, let's do that. They would be integral to the story we were telling. I'm sorry that was the worst improv ever, so let's pretend it didn't happen. It's not just getting the whole Enterprise gang back together every week. Now, we might see them. I would love to see everybody in one form or another, maybe even some of them in regular roles. But this would be a different show. It would be about these younger characters who would be in their 20s or early 30s at most. And so you have the opportunity to bring in some legacy people, but it would largely be about the new cast, giving fans the Romulan War, and aftermath. None of this is to say that Sussman is ignoring Enterprise. He notes that fans of that series, including new fans who have discovered it in the streaming era, share an affinity with TOS fans, who also felt that they were robbed of more seasons following cancellation before Star Trek TMP. And there is one particular thing he definitely wants to give fans that he also feels fits in the story he wants to tell for United. If this isn't about Shran, even though I know it isn't because they already mentioned the Romulans above, I will riot. I'd want to open this show by showing a scene that we never got from an Enterprise Season 7. It would be during the height of the Romulan War. Something that has become clear to me from feedback since we first started talking about this is fans saying they never got to see the Romulan War. We were waiting for it, and you guys just kind of skipped over it in the Enterprise series finale, and I share their frustration. So I would want to know, to show, to grow some of that. And a particular pivotal moment that not just pure fan service. The scene would actually introduce a very important character for the show moving forward. Probably not a cursor hand, that wasn't part of the plan. Ooh, look, Travis actually gets a showcase here. They didn't forget about him. The Romulan War was a key event which led to the formation of the Federation, something partially set up during the first 4 seasons of Enterprise, and there were plans to fully explore the war had the series not been cancelled. Sussman sees the aftermath of the war, even 2 or more decades later, as a key element of the new series. He also has ideas on exploring why no one had apparently ever seen a Romulan during the war until the TOS episode Balance of Terror, where it is first revealed that Romulans are related to Vulcans. Sussman says maintaining that consistency with TOS offers an opportunity. It almost seems like the Federation or the people of Earth, as well as the Romulans, don't want the Vulcans to know who they are. And why would that be? I think that's a very intriguing question. I've certainly got my ideas. He elaborated on how this could work out on United. You could establish that certain people in the government or the spy agencies have their strong suspicions. Section 31? In fact, that even plays into Balance of Terror. I don't think it's out of order to suggest that there had already been rumors to that effect. Something that maybe just sounded crazy to people. But when Lieutenant Stiles sees Mark Leonard with his pointed ears on the view screen, and he looks at Spock like, dude, that's your dad? I would want to maintain consistency for sure. That's the challenge. Again, my reading is impeccable today. Sussman's comment about Mark Leonard is a nod to the actor playing both the Romulan commander in Balance of Terror and then appearing later as Spock's father, Sarek, in Journey to Babel, and subsequent Trek shows and movies and animated series, I think. Yeah, he was in the animated series. Maybe Shran, but definitely a certain Romulan spy. No maybe Shran. Definitely Shran. I think you need to rewrite this. As noted before, while the show would center on Bakula's Archer and the new cast, Sussman would like to find opportunities to bring back other characters and actors from Enterprise. For example, he says he would love to bring back Jeffrey Combs and a fan-favorite character Shran, but he noted, the issue with returning cast is you can't have Jeff Combs as Shran just show up in a meeting and say, right on, Mr. President, and then disappear. They have to be integral to the story. That said, I'd love to get everybody back one way or another, or just watch my prior video and I already wrote you an easy answer for that. Wow, I am rambling like a villain here. Tying into the whole Romulan thing, Sussman talked about one character he knows he wants to bring back, Liam Shaw. There was a character I created in Season 4, a Romulan secret agent, Talok, operating on Vulcan and disguised as a Vulcan, played by the great Todd Stashwick. I worked with Todd on 12 Monkeys with Terry Matalis, and I saw that he did on Picard, and I saw what he did on Picard. He's absolutely brilliant on that. I'd love to see that character come back. I would want to see where he is now and what he is up to. I am sure it is no good, because I think he's still undercover as a Vulcan, causing trouble. Troubble. But Sussman knows Stashwick is busy. His schedule includes working with Terry Matalis on the Marvel series Vision Quest, and if Terry could ever talk Paramount into launching his Star Trek Legacy idea, Todd has a role in that too. Sussman acknowledges Todd may have other priorities, but offered I'd love to have him if he's available. He's super talented and a huge fan of many different franchises. And waiting on new Paramount. That's probably the merger and stuff. It is encouraging as a fan of the franchise that they seem to be saying, we want to do more Star Trek streaming, but we want to do more movies. I don't know where their plans are, but if their plans involve expanding the footprint of Star Trek on streaming, then perhaps something like this could be a part of it. I mean, for me, crazier things have happened. Section 31 movie. Sussman and Bakula also understand that United would perhaps not be a flagship show, which, again, that makes sense. More of a Deep Space Nine type of thing. I think Scott said it best at the Las Vegas convention, right? Who knows what will happen? And then this is just a little more backstory. So, in essence, there's no forward momentum on the show actually being picked up. We know Sussman has ideas, plans, stories, all that stuff. Bakula's on board. Probably other guest characters would be willing to come back. But frankly, there's no real news here insofar as this being a real, physical, tangible thing we're going to see in our future. People have ideas. People are interested. People have conceivably even pitched it to Paramount. But the ball's in their court on if this is something they want to do, and even if they're willing to do it in the way that it is pitched here. For all we know, they want Bakula back. Sure, this sounds like a good idea. Maybe they bring Sussman on board, but potentially they don't want this story idea. They want them to rework it. Just wanted to cover this, get the idea out there. This is where we're planning to go with this show. The ideas he has. Follow up with whatever you think down below. Do you think this is a good idea? Again, I already mentioned it in my prior breaking news video about this being a thing. Do you have any further ideas? Does this sound like the way you wanted them to do this show? Or do you think this is the wrong direction? Whatever you think, leave all that down below. I'm going to take off my hat and head to bed in just a moment. So like, share, subscribe, join, hype, all of those things. And until next time, computer, cease this program.